So I know photosynthesis is a very complicated process and has those two big steps, so I want to walk us through it one more time all at once with some of those major factors. I'm going to start off here with our basic plant. Remember, the stem is to support the plant, and its main function is really to get the leaves up where they can get some sunlight for photosynthesis. There are a couple of leaves, and then we're going to have a dirt line with roots. Remember, the roots' main purpose is the collection of water and other trace nutrients, but I want you to focus on the water while we're considering photosynthesis. You also have the reproductive structure of the plants, the flowers. These are to produce more plants, and not all plants have flowers. Don't misunderstand me here, and don't yell at me when you take Biology 1120. All plants do not have flowers. This one happens to. The leaves of the plant, their primary purpose is photosynthesis, and they have the stomata or the stomates there for gas exchange. Now, let's back up. Water comes in through the roots, and through capillary action due to hydrogen bonding, it is able to travel up the leaves, where, if the stomates are open, it may leave through the pores. This in general is undesirable. And then there are two more gases that are also moving in and out of these stomates or stomata. One of these, oxygen, is produced within this leaf during the light reactions. It is the byproduct or the waste from that, and carbon dioxide is going in to take part in the Calvin cycle and carbon fixation. Now, the loss of water is called transpiration. When you lose water, the stomata of the plant, it's transpiration. This, to a large extent, is very undesirable for plants. Plants that are in very wet conditions don't have major problems from it, but this is undesirable. Oxygen leaving the plant is just simply a product of the light reaction being released. The plant doesn't need this big buildup of oxygen in its leaves, so it releases it as waste. And then carbon dioxide is needed for the Calvin cycle, so it is going into the leaf to be used for that. And these are actually following their concentration gradients is the reason this happens so readily. There's less oxygen in the air than in the plant leaf. There is less carbon dioxide in the plant leaf than in the air, so they're following their concentration gradients. Anyway, so the water taken up by the roots is needed to fill the central vacuole for the light reactions So the water is split in the light reaction, and that creates that oxygen to be released, and it facilitates the chemiosmotic phosphorylation. And then you also need water to fill up the central vacuoles, and the guard cells of the stomates can be opened to allow gas exchange. So, very briefly, in our light reactions, what is happening? In our Calvin cycle, what is happening? What are the big parts? And to explain that, I want to go ahead and write out the formula for photosynthesis. The 6 carbon dioxides are involved in the Calvin cycle. The 6 H2Os and the sunlight go to the light reaction. C6H12O6, or glucose, comes out of the Calvin cycle, and the 6 oxygens come out of the light reactions. If you'll notice, I've matched the colors up to the reaction they go with. The light reaction uses water. It releases oxygen. And it produces energy that will fuel the Calvin cycle in the form of ATP and that electron carrier NADPH. As I mentioned, these fuel the Calvin cycle. Now, over here at the Calvin cycle, we use carbon dioxide, and we also use the ATP and the NADPH energy that is collected in the light reactions of photosynthesis. What we produce during the Calvin cycle is G3P. 5 of those molecules out of the 6 go back to regenerate RUBP, and the other one is used combined with a second to produce glucose and other products that a plant may need.